The Democratic race takes center stage this week as the candidates gear up for the first debate in Las Vegas. In a new CBS poll, Hillary Clinton holds a strong national lead over rival Bernie Sanders by 24 points.
But according to the poll, her numbers would slip slightly if Vice President Joe Biden were to enter the race. We're joined now by congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes and Ben Kamisar, staff writer at The Hill. Thank you both for being with us. Let's talk about tomorrow night's debate. Nancy, I want to start with you. What do you think the likelihood is that Joe Biden might jump in at the very last minute?
I think as fascinating as that would be, Elaine, I think the chances are very, very slim. You never want to look like you're winging it, jumping into the presidential race. And also, no one has ever benefited from getting into a debate without proper preparation. Even presidents who haven't prepared, we saw that in 2012, don't tend to do that well in debates. He's better off watching how the debate unfolds tomorrow night, seeing how these candidates stack up against one another, letting them beat each other up a little bit, and then making a final decision about whether he wants to jump into the fray.
Ben, to that point, Bernie Sanders has not really taken on Hillary directly. He hasn't used anything that some might consider dirty tactics on her. How do you expect that they will react or interact tomorrow on the stage?
Yeah, no, it's obviously going to be interesting to see how he does. Bernie Sanders, unlike sort of what we've seen on the Republican side, he's tried to really stay focused on issues. And he said, I'm not going to actually, not going to take on Hillary Clinton personally. He's been sort of loath to talk about the email controversy. I think what we're really going to see here is two people who have, a little bit, they agree on a lot of things, but they also have a lot of different views on sort of the direction of where the country should be going. And I think mostly they'll be focusing really on trying to make that issues point, especially for Sanders, instead of really trying to hone in on some personal attacks.
Nancy, what do you think Hillary Clinton needs to do tomorrow night?
I think she's going to have three main challenges. First of all the other candidates on the stage are going to be taking aim at her. She's the big kahuna. It's not going to be perhaps as not nasty or raucous as a Republican debate, but they are all sort of honing their attacks on her, trying to take her down a peg. She needs to show that she's more electable, better prepared for the presidency than Bernie Sanders without turning off the significant chunk of the Democratic electorate who really like him, because she's going to want to win those people over. So that's a very delicate challenge. And finally, she needs to have a good answer prepared for the inevitable questions about why she seems to have changed her positions on some key issues, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, this trade pact with Asian nations that she championed when she was Secretary of State, and now says that she's against. So on that issue, on things like the Keystone Pipeline, both her opponents and the moderators themselves are going to be asking her why she has changed her position and whether it's out of political expediency that she's done so.
Ben, we've got this new CBS News poll that shows Hillary Clinton with a commanding lead over her rivals. So what do the other candidates need to do, specifically Martin O'Malley, Jim Webb, and Lincoln Chafee?
No, of course. I mean, a lot of them are looking for their Carly Fiorina moment, that rise that we saw from Carly Fiorina on the Republican side. Chances are that's probably not going to happen to that extent, but each of them really have important roles that they can play, and they certainly have their own outcomes. For Martin O'Malley, for example, he had been hoping that he could take that, progressive left area of Hillary Clinton, which has ultimately been filled by Bernie Sanders. So I think for him, it's really important to sort of show that he belongs on the stage, that he's a true presidential candidate, that he's a rival of these these people these two candidates who are really demolishing him in the polls right now. It's hard to see, how much gain he could make, but really just to chip away at Clinton and Sanders and portray himself as a strong candidate would really be a win for him. As far as Webb and Chafee, Webb has been someone that I've heard of some people saying he might be a little bit surprised. It might be a little bit surprising. He is actually a pretty decent debater. He gave the State of the Union response back in 2007 and was lauded for that, sort of right off the cuff, being able to respond. So he has experience doing this. For really Webb and for Chafee, it's just about introducing themselves to the American people, because most people don't even know that they're running.
Nancy, on another topic, the House Republicans are still without a candidate for the next Speaker of the House. Any word from Paul Ryan and whether he might change his mind about the job?
I spoke to one of his top aides who says that Ryan fielded lots of calls over the weekend from Republicans who are begging him to get into the race, that he listened to those calls, but that he still has not changed his mind. And frankly, he does have some breathing room now. Congress has gone home for a week-long recess, so he's not under the kind of pressure that he was under when he was here on Capitol Hill, and reporters and members of Congress were dogging him every step he took, asking him if he was going to reconsider. Now he's at home in Wisconsin, thinking it over with his family, taking all those phone calls. Even Mitt Romney has called him, urging him to run for the speakership, but he's got probably until the end of next weekend to make up his mind.
Nancy, before we let you go, could this come back and hurt him in the future? Clearly, if you've got so many in your party asking you, begging you to step up, and you don't, at some later date, if Congressman Ryan wants to try and attempt, another national office, could that perhaps be a problem for him?
Yeah, he's really between a rock and a hard place. And frankly, most Republicans don't envy him. If you want to pursue higher office and you want to make the case down the road that you are a great leader, it's going to be difficult to explain why your entire party was begging you to lead them, you said no. That's really challenging. On the other hand, he knows that if he does step up and lead this very, very fractured Republican conference, inevitably he is going to be accused by hardline Republicans of selling out, of being a Republican in name only, of giving in to the Democrats, of capitulating. And as we've seen over time, when you hear Republicans make that case over and over again about one of their leaders, it takes a toll. We have a new poll out this morning at CBS News showing that among Republican voters, the approval rating for the current speaker, John Boehner, is only 23%. That's their approval rating for their own speaker. So you can see why Ryan is really hesitating here and trying to figure out what his least bad option is.
Difficult position for him. Nancy Cordes and Ben Kamisar, thank you both for your insight.
You're welcome.